Thoughts on the contemporary rise of total war. My daughter comes back from school. She tells me her civics teacher essentially taught the kids that commerce is the foundation of America, that commerce is the solution to all war. It took me 10 seconds to help my daughter recognize the utter nonsense of that proposition. America is not founded on commerce. Politics is not based on the principles of marketing. And economics, what we call economics today, in other words, merchant trade, is not a solution to war. All you need to do is look at the main trade that we have in the world today, and it is the trade in weapons. It is trade for war, not as an alternative to war. War is the greatest business of all. But even setting aside statements that might strike one as cynical, all you need to do here is recognize that the modern appeal to the principles of the market, to mercantilism, is fundamentally atheistic. It was understood in those terms by, for instance, the community of Jews that condemned Spinoza, for instance. What is the matter with that? What is the matter with establishing human life based on mercantile principles? Well, the idea there is that we are fundamentally mercenaries. We are beyond good and evil. The idea is that we can establish a society on principles that are independent of any reference to the divine, and thus to divine perfection, or the perfection of our own being, and thus independent of any fundamental, inalienable telos, path that is natural to man, as man. So, what do we have? We have the marketplace in its stead. The old bond between father and son, between master and slave, between man and God, is replaced by what? By a bond between merchants, traders. They don't need to investigate what is going on in their soul. They just trade, and the trade is guaranteed by a token. That token is inherently meaningless. Money, a machine. So we have a society of mercenaries, and everything is held together by a machine. Now, it just so happens that the greatest of trade is war. And in a society that is based on these principles of the market that are severed from any reference to the divine, what happens then? Well, what happens is simple. The human being is the first commodity, the first merchandise, the ultimate and consummate merchandise, as a matter of fact, because you got rid of God, and so you have a rootless human being, which is a perfect merchandise. He can work to sell himself. He can promote himself as merchandise. Total whoredom. Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what we're dealing with. So, with the rise of the market society, you have the conversion of the human being, finally, in its terminal stage of development, the society will give you a human being that is the ultimate consummate merchandise. He will work to sell himself, and he will buy himself. And all of this process is guaranteed by the machine. Technology is there to guarantee the self-enslavement of peoples. All right? So, at least we have peace, right? Well, no, because the human being that is being sold is just a weapon for war, strife, civil war, internal wars, wars between peoples, within cities, total war. Everyone is a weapon, always, continually ready to explode against, to be unleashed against, and to lash out against others. And this strife that the market is guaranteeing, is securing, is based on this definition of the human being as the consummate piece of merchandise, which is a little bomb ticking. Now, you say, well, we got rid of God, and this is the result. Well, you got rid of God, and you replaced God with the vortex, with chaos. And the marketplace is somehow the ultimate incarnation, a manifestation of cosmic chaos. There is no God out there, it's only chaos. And the market is showing us the truth about chaos, about the truth being chaos, the truth about what is outside of the market. What is the truth about chaos is more chaos. And that's why the market has to expand and continually, reformat itself. It's in expansion. It's reinventing itself. And so must we reinvent ourselves as weapons. We look at our models, and they're always in strife. Everywhere and everyone is involved in, every place is involved in strife. So it's total war. And the way we speak, the way we behave, we relate to each other, that's all founded on the principle of universal cosmic strife. Cosmic strife, of course, is an oxymoron, but it is the notion that all order is fundamentally an illusion grounded in disorder. So, at this point, what about law and order? Law and the people who are supposed to guarantee that we live in a country based on laws, on almost immutable principles. There is a legal constitution. Well, all of that is reconceived as a machine. So the servants of the law, the judges, the lawyers, you name it, the senators, the government, they all function as little machines playing with the big machine of law that guarantees that everybody's fighting against each other, and fundamentally everybody's leveled out, everybody's on the same plane, there's no right and wrong, everybody's equally right, everybody's equally wrong. So if you are out of luck, you get punished. If you are lucky, you don't. You can pay your way out, buy your justice, because of course within the machine of the market we have the tokens of the machine. The tokens buy you justice. So you pull out your dollars and you buy your justice. And this is perfectly fine. America, of course, was founded on the principle that whatever the king said is not automatically true. And yet today we have a legal establishment, legal in positivistic terms, a machine, that bows to the principle that whatever the judge says is the truth. If that sounds cynical, well, there's a good chance it is. But whoever pronounces that that proposition doesn't believe that it's cynical, believes that there's no other truth beyond the chaos, and so the only truth that we have here in the concrete, the one that represents the cosmic truth, is the machine. And so whatever the machine, you go to a slot machine, you pull the lever, and whatever the answer is, that's the truth. You say, well, it's mechanical. It doesn't. Well, yeah, sure. And that's life. Life is not fair. Now, all of this, of course, is a prophecy that the people who are feeding into the system are fulfilling themselves. It's a self-fulfilled prophecy, right? You say, well, why don't we just feed into it? What alternative is there to this matrix? Well, of course there's an alternative. You don't sell your soul. The alternative is the one that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde don't pick, that Dorian Gray throws out of the window, that Faust abandons, rejects, betrays by trading with the devil. So that's where we stand. And parents, for the most part, have traded with the devil. And their children are being fed straight, head on, to the machine. That is how we have the rise of these various cults, such as the trans cult, left and right, and all of the various genders, and the betrayal of nature, and the rejection of nature is just a machine. It's chaos. There's no order. There's no meaning. So we might as well create meaning ex nihilo, from nothing, out of our own whims, not out of the bottomless bottom of the mind, the mysterious mind of God. So this absolute perfection of the mind, of intellect, of intelligence, but out of infinite absurdity, the bottomless pit of shamelessness. This is what we have today. The bottomless pit of shamelessness bespeaks its own madness.